Welcome to the Snap UK podcast, your one-stop shop for all the news, views and opinions on the NFL from this side of the pond. Let's get this out of the way early. We're winging it. It's Christmas. Some of us have driven back from Ireland. Some of us have had sleepless nights with the puppy. Some of us can't be bothered to be here. Paul. Last minute pull out. Jesus Christ. Catholic contraception, that, isn't it? Jesus. Right.
Never works.
That's how come you've got so many kids, right?
Yeah, that's it.
We might be joined by a new podcast dog tonight as well. He's asleep next to me on a chair. We're going to delve into all 16 games. There were no buys this week. I could have really done with some buys.
Yeah, everyone looking around the table going, oh, shit.
Jesus, is it 16?
I'm afraid so. It is.
Just do a quiz instead.
No.
Let's just talk about the Pro Bowl and move on.
Let's never.
No, yeah.
Some glaring omissions from that. Right, we're going to start off with a key game in the AFC, certainly in the AFC East, but also for seedings for the AFC. So Bills 33, Patriots 21. The Bills avenging their hammering from a couple of weeks back by basically unleashing Josh Allen, who played, I would say, his best game of the season.
Yeah.
He was just spot on. Every third down conversion, amazing. It was the first New England game under Bill Belichick where his team didn't force a punt in the whole game.
Wow.
They went to town and they did what they should do, which is prove they have the better squad. I still don't think every week they're the better team, but they have the better squad.
They're still lacking that running game as well. I mean, they lent on, quite rightly, they lent on Josh Allen to run the ball more often.
64 yards?
64 yards off 12
He was
carries.
incredible.
He was brilliant passing the ball as well, as he has been probably for the last couple of seasons, really.
Yeah.
And they were without players as well. I mean, that's going to be a running theme throughout this podcast is, such and such missed this many players. But both teams missed players. The Bills didn't have Cole Beasley because he's an idiot. But Isaiah McKenzie kind of stepped up. He had 7 catches in the whole season before this game. He had 11 catches for 125.
Has Cole Beasley cost himself his job?
Yeah, I was about to say, surely,
I hope so.
I hope so as well.
I think wide receiver threes are just,
yeah.
They just plug whoever in, don't
The Bills' loss is the rap world's gain, though.
I'd like to see him concentrate on his rap career.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's not enough white rappers out there.
Because it's interesting because Diggs this year hasn't been...
He's not been...
His stat line hasn't been amazing, but if you watch, he takes away so much coverage.
He's covered, double covered all the time, absolutely.
Josh Allen's, is his last touchdown where he went to run it, fake the run, and then just like a little pop pass to Dawson Knox. That's what Josh Allen's about, right? The unstructured plays, and you can just make it up. And he's that dual threat where if he does run, he's difficult to stop. He's a big guy.
Yeah. He balls over 2 of our defenders
easily.
at one point. Just took them out.
First player in NFL history with 100+ passing touchdowns and 20 rushing touchdowns in its first 4 seasons.
Yeah, I think
in total, that's impressive considering, there was a lot of doubt in his first year.
Well. I mean, it wasn't a good Bills team that he joined. Like when he first came out of the draft, they drafted him. They traded up to bring him, and then they built the team around him, and it's worked. He coming into the draft, he wasn't as polished as what he was now. I think there were a lot of concerns about his accuracy.
Do you remember who had him down as the best quarterback in that draft?
John,
I think it was. Yeah,
I think it was both of us. I will give you some credit here.
Thanks very much.
It was.
I said I would have taken him number 1 overall.
Yeah,
because he had the best.
I know you did. I don't think it was even John. I just didn't want to give you the satisfaction.
I had Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson as my top 2 quarterbacks.
I nearly
work out well.
I nearly decided to give you the credit first up, and then I just decided I didn't want to.
I think that's perfectly fair.
In your defence as well, I had Lamar then Josh Allen.
Well, we did.
What do I know?
Nobody had Josh Rosen. Remember Josh Rosen?
No.
No one likes Josh Rosen.
This was a key game because the Bills hold the tiebreakers now in the AFC East because of the strength of schedule. If you look at the Patriots wins, we've beaten some shonky teams. And the Bills have been inconsistent, but they've had some good wins as well as some bad losses.
I think what happened was with the Patriots is that by beating the bad teams, it gave you some confidence. And you took that momentum in and you did get some good wins. Like we were talking about the fact they were the number 1 seed in the AFC 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
So I don't think we can really say the Patriots they've had a better season than anyone thought.
They have. Do you know what the problem is? When we've conceded 25 points or more this season, we've not won a game. Yeah. And we rely on our defence because it's a first-year quarterback. Yeah. Every team that's got a rookie quarterback needs its defence. And when our defence has an off day, which it had, because there was some poor tackling in this game.
Yeah, and I think you have to put the Patriots season into that context. Like any other team with a rookie quarterback, you'd be lauding this as oh my God, that's an amazing season. You're 9-6. You
have no wide receivers.
But
really.
no wide receivers.
The
defense
tight ends haven't always
tight
turned
ends
up.
Haven't always been out. Spent a lot of money on
Running
certain
game's been
players.
decent.
Yeah, but it would be a good season. But because it's the Patriots and because it's Bill Belichick, Jesus, it's not.
I don't think it's
9-6.
necessarily that. I think it's just because you were 8-4 or whatever.
Yeah.
So it looked like you were going to just blast your way through like normal.
We're taking a bit of a hit. I mean, I said we would split the Bills. I was right. I said we would lose to the Colts. We were right. I have, in my pessimistic way, already told you I think we lose to the Dolphins.
5 times he said he's right on something in his podcast.
Only 5. I'm doing well. As we go down, I'm going to get less and less right.
I'm okay with you being right about the Patriots losing. I'm never going to get tired of
I
that.
think this becomes really tight, and now I think this might be the division that's favourite to have 3 teams come out. But we'll get to the Dolphins later. But it's an absolutely real possibility.
Yeah.
You could end up with 3 teams.
The only thing might be the Steelers tie. That's what might stop it.
Could be, but they are shit.
Doesn't matter.
We
said it at the time. That tie might get them in.
Yeah, it does.
One great stat line I heard on another popular podcast. It was that this season the Bills have had, I think it's 9, 12.
Is it My Dad Made a Porno?
Yeah, that's it. The Bills have had 9 12-point wins this season, which is more than Derek Carr's entire career.
Yeah. And they've won their last 16.
Bad knee. I couldn't let it go.
No, neither could he.
It's a very popular podcast.
I assume she was crouching over. Never mind. They've also won their last 16 games by 10 or more points, which is an NFL record. So when they win big.
Yeah.
But they do. I mean, they lost to the Jags. Let's just remember that they are fallible.
I still can't make it. Look, even in that game, they only gave up 9 points. The defense showed up. This defense has been, I think, underrated throughout the whole season because there's so much focus on Josh Allen and the offense. The defense has really stepped up. But you're right. If they're in a close game, it does feel like they lose those games. And that's a worry going into the playoffs.
They're designed to play with a lead.
Yeah.
I think play with a lead and play in quite broken play. I think when it becomes very tight and very pressurised and very 10 yards here,
Do you not think that's Sean McDermott?
Yeah, but that's what I mean.
Yeah.
I think they want to go for the big play, boom or bust. And I think when it's
suits
really
Josh Allen.
Yeah, it suits Josh Allen. When it comes very tight, you need to pick up 10 yards.
Yeah.
I don't think they're great at that because what they want is the play to develop, and that creates space for Josh Allen to run into. If he's just trying to run 5 yards, the defense is still there. And if you're just trying to throw it 10 yards, the defense is still there. So they want to go for those bigger plays. They try and stretch the field quite a lot because it creates gaps, creates lanes.
This is probably going to be a stupid question. I haven't thought it through much in advance, but we'll go for it anyway.
Most of them are.
Yeah. How good would Todd Gurley be in this team if you just need someone to pick up 50 yards a game? Because they can't do it.
He'd be good for 1 week, and then next week he would cost you a load of money to do nothing.
But they could sign him to
it would have been worth a punt to pick up Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah.
No, because so many people have picked him up and dropped him. There's a problem there.
Yeah, it's his attitude, but they need something.
They need.
I think it's his attitude and his production.
They lost Zach Moss.
You should have picked up Peterson.
Yeah, Adrian Peterson.
Yeah, perhaps because they could use a bulldozer type running because Devin Singletary is good, but he's not going to run through the tackles and gain yards.
No,
they need that kind of physical presence.
Without that physical presence, I think that's
Peterson
what
would
they're
do.
lacking. Yeah, I agree. I think so as well.
Half the players the Ravens have picked up would do a decent job for the Bills and be, I can't remember, the Singletary and is it Moss?
Yeah.
I can't remember the other one.
Well, Zach Moss went out injured and it's all been on Singletary. They've not used Matt Breida hardly at all.
And yet the one game he had, he was brilliant.
Great,
so I don't understand it. It seems very strange. Yeah. Right, we should move on from this game. A team who may have eliminated themselves from playoff contention now, in my opinion. Packers 24, clearly not them. Browns 22. They had the chance to win this game despite 4 Baker Mayfield interceptions, the last of which was a massive defensive holding penalty that wasn't called.
Yeah,
but he threw some terrible passes.
What was Baker's key trait coming out of college?
Accuracy.
And what has he not had this season? Accuracy.
Yes, that's true. You're absolutely.
When you take that away from him, I know he's injured. I get that.
No. John, did you say being a dick?
Yes, he did. Yeah.
That was his main trait.
You are absolutely right. He's being asked to pass it too deep too often. He threw 4 interceptions and
I would
that's
also
terrible.
fail if I was asked to go too deep.
You
too
absolutely would. But the play calling
Once is
the
One pump.
Yeah.
He'd try one pump and that'd be it.
that'd
If it's going deep, yeah.
Yeah, God.
There's no such thing as a bump fake with me. That's not happening.
Second game, we've lost it already. Brilliant.
That's why one of those towels in my shorts.
Christ.
I mean,
drying my balls.
having to explain a pump fake, just it's fine. Every man has a pump fake.
Right. Anyway, sorry.
Moving on.
You were making a very serious
I was
point
making a
about
very
Baker Mayfield. Yeah.
He threw 4 interceptions, but I wouldn't put all the blame on Baker Mayfield for this game. Like the play calling in that last quarter was terrible. Nick Chubb had a great game, 17 carries, 126 yards. The Packers can't defend the run. Like if you're going to beat the Packers, have a run game.
So is this where I dive in and ask you if you saw the tweet that was sent out by John Johnson?
I didn't know, but
He's their cornerback.
Cornerback, yeah.
He's at home with COVID, and he tweeted out, "Run the damn ball."
yeah, you've got one of the best running backs in the league
Yeah.
who was running it very well, 7.4 yards per carry.
And the last drive was 5 Baker passes.
And yeah, what
This Browns
fuck's that
team
about?
has only worked when they run the ball.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's always been the case. If Baker throws 200 yards and they rush for 150 to 200 yards,
Yeah.
they allow the defense enough time to recover. The defense stays
Yeah.
mean and they win games.
Yeah.
If you let Baker throw the ball away in 30 seconds and then throw it to the other team, the defense just gets fucked.
We said it
and
before.
They're not the same.
He's a glorified game manager.
He's a sober Johnny Manziel. That's what he is.
I don't think he's that bad.
I don't think he's that bad, but like if you're gonna,
We never got to see how good a sober Johnny Manziel would
That's
be.
true.
At Oklahoma, he was good. His accuracy was high because there were screen passes, there were short passes, slants. Get him to do that again. You haven't got the wide receivers for the deep balls anyway. Like you've got good tight ends.
They're
Use
basically
them.
in playoff football now, though, aren't they? Because they're bottom of their division now.
I think they're done. I think it's over for the Browns, and I think that's a massive shame.
the only thing keeping them going is that their 2 games are 2 games in division against the Steelers and against the Bengals. That Bengals game could literally be a win in.
I would say with the talent they've got on that defense, that it's a disgrace if they don't get to the
I
playoffs.
agree.
I agree.
But I think that about the rest of the team as well. So ignoring the quarterback, the running game is good. The offensive line is good. All right, the wide receivers aren't great. They're not.
Landry's been in and out. He's
They
not really.
They haven't got a true number one.
No.
But if your game plan is predominantly around running the ball, then the opposition defense is going to respect that, and you're probably going to get more room for your wide receivers anyway on short routes. So you can make that work.
I would not want to go and explain to Myles Garrett why we didn't make the playoffs.
No,
That would be a conversation I would not want to have if I was Baker after throwing 4 interceptions. Because he is big, man.
I think that
and mean.
there needs to be some serious decisions made in the
They've made
off-season.
2 massive decisions that have gone against them. So they made 2 problems for themselves this season. The first one was playing Baker when he was injured. When everyone could see he was injured and they insisted on playing. There was no drop-off at quarterback when Case Keenum played.
Case Keenum would have been just as good in this team.
So there's that. And the second one is that they haven't run the ball enough.
No.
I think Kevin Stefanski thinks Baker Mayfield is a true number 1 must-use quarterback, and he's not. And that's fine. Alex Smith was a number 1 choice. And when people realised, hang on, he's a brilliant game manager, we just have to have a running game, he won like 4 divisional titles in a row. He got a team 3/4 of the way to the Super Bowl. All right, he didn't round it off, but he was the reason you were in that position when Kaepernick took over. Christ, there's his name's come up for the first time this season. And
Probably not.
And then look what he did at Washington before he got injured. That team suddenly was fighting into the playoffs again.
And the Chiefs.
That's what I mean. The divisional
you
titles
put a
always there.
fit Alex Smith on that Browns team. Different story.
But it's the way you run them, and I think Kevin Stefanski thinks that Baker's better than he is.
Is it just because smash mouth football, which is effectively what they have been really good at, it's not very sexy, and they want to be. They want to be. But I think. I can't think of a reason why you'd look at that team and think, "I'm going to make Baker throw this 40 times."
You look at the Browns as a franchise; they've never been a team that have had, like, to quote Rude Hullett, sexy football wins as well. They've never been that finesse team. It's a Cleveland. It's a blue collar town. Run the damn ball, Jim Brown, smash out the middle. That's what the fans want. Lost him again.
I mean, if Paul were here right now, he'd be hammering his fist on the table.
He'd be shitting his pants.
Oh, he's ill again, is he? I see.
Too many rich foods.
See, we should move on from the Browns in that case. Right. The Colts 22, Cardinals 16. The Colts are sailing into the playoffs. I know we're going to get to the Tetons shortly, but this Colts team, I don't know how you stop them right now, because last week Carson
Rivers.
but last week Carson Wentz was awful, so they just stopped him passing. He only completed 5 passes, and they let Jonathan Taylor run the game. This week, when the game was right on the precipice, Carson Wentz was magic.
This is what Kevin Stefanski should look at. They should look at this game and go, right, Frank Reich realised Carson Wentz having a shit game. We're just going to give the ball to Jonathan Taylor. Do you know what? This game, Carson Wentz is doing all right, and now he's 18 for 28, 225 yards, 2 touchdowns. Brilliant. If it's managing the game from the sideline. That's what a coach should be doing. And Frank Reich is proving that he's an awesome coach. Bear in mind, the Colts had, I think, 3 of their starting offensive line were out, including Quentin Nelson. Another one went injured, and the Cardinals couldn't get close to them.
No, this is the worst Cardinals game of the season, I think. That they had nothing going for them.
I think they were not in trouble. They're obviously going to make the playoffs, but I don't think they're winning the division. Like they're next. They got the Cowboys next, who we're going to come on to, but
the Rams are going to win that division.
Yeah, exactly. Cowboys next, then they should beat the Seahawks for the last game.
But I still don't. I think the Cardinals have still had a good season, haven't they?
Yeah,
absolutely.
Of course. They're missing some key players, and I think it will depend on whether they're back and fit, whether they'll go far in the playoffs. But at the end of the day, if Kyler Murray gets some playoff experience, either 1 or 2 games, it's just going to help them next year. They didn't go into this season really thinking they were going to win the Super Bowl.
We all thought Cliff Clinkernuts was on the hot seat.
Well, when they started the season 7-0, there wasn't anyone at this table who was anything other than surprised. It's just that the drop-off is very disappointing. But they'll roll into the playoffs, and then...
Quite a tough schedule, though. NFC West is a tough schedule.
Of course it is, yeah.
So, and then you pick up the odd team like the Colts, and then, like most teams in the league would be happy with 10 and 5.
Yeah.
That's all teams.
All teams.
Would be happy
I know
with 10
injuries
and 5.
aren't an excuse, but you lose JJ Watt, you lose Hopkins for the business end of the season.
Yeah.
I mean, they had a few people out.
And how many teams do you see that have secured playoff football that just take a dip? You do see it happen.
I think most teams take a dip at some point. There's very...
The Packers are going to be the number 1 seed in the NFC.
There's very few teams that have gone 16-0 or now 17-0. Well, there's no teams who've gone 17-0, I guess. But even like you see very few teams in the past go 15-1, 14-2.
I mean, the longest winningest team last year was the Steelers, who got their first loss and then just fell off a cliff.
Are they 11-0? No, they weren't 11-0.
I think they were 11-0.
Yeah.
And they went off a cliff.
12,
absolutely went off a cliff. And
absolutely.
the Cardinals...
They lost 3 of the last 4 or something.
Yeah,
and then lost in the playoffs to the Browns.
First game of the playoffs to the Browns. So,
Can happen.
I mean, for the Colts, Wentz is now on the COVID list.
And he is unvaccinated. So
you guys have mentioned to me before we started that they're calling Philip Rivers.
That is the rumour.
Comeback player of the year.
I mean, honestly, I hope it's true, but at the same time, he should stay retired.
Playoff Rivers. If he comes back and loses a clutch game.
He should absolutely stay retired. But you've got the game plan where you just need to give it to Jonathan Taylor. Like, that's all you have to do, isn't it? Because he's that type of player.
Can't they just go Wildcat, just save the money?
They've got Sam Ellinger. I mean, they can just play anyone and just hand it off.
But their last 2 games are Raiders and Jaguars.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're not missing Wentz for anything important.
No, play Sam Ellinger, hand it off to Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah,
make the odd pass here and there. I think you'll be fine.
I mean, literally, I'm sure with that team they could play Colt McCoy and beat the Jags, so it's fine.
It's probably true. I thought it was an interesting note that the Cardinals have 28 fumbles this season, which leads the NFL, but have only lost 3 of them, which is the fewest in the NFL. How do you even manage that? That's incredible.
Murray's really close to the ground anyway.
So you're probably not wrong. But that's one of those really random things. And also, their season has not just pivoted on the loss of the key players that John mentioned, Watt and Hopkins. Rodney Hudson, the centre. Since he's been gone, they have had botched snaps and problems with protection. You don't realise how key some of these O-linemen are until they're gone.
There's a reason that it was Peyton Manning's Jeff Saturday. Peyton Manning, Jeff Saturday. That relationship was key. And like you go back and watch America's game, there's a reason that those 2 are the 2 commentators, because that connection between centre and quarterback is so important for timing, for blocking, for everything. And Rodney Hudson is one of the best centres in the league, and missing him is going to hurt. And I think when you've got a player like Kyler Murray, who is still young, and he is physically challenged compared to other quarterbacks, it's going to be even more key because he has to have that extra kind of beat or two to be able to make a play, to be able to see over the offensive line. So, yeah, it's a massive loss.
Right. We should move on. Rams 30, Vikings 23. Another close loss. Every loss this season by a score or less.
Yeah.
You
That
know?
might save Zimmer's job.
Yeah, and
I don't know if it does.
I'm not sure it should. I think it's
I think
time
it might
to.
do.
It might do.
I think
You
it might
be
do.
right.
It's going to be a case of who out there is better.
Exactly.
He doesn't necessarily deserve to lose his job, and he should perhaps end up coaching somewhere else. But I think they need to change something about the makeup of the team.
I feel like the Vikings are just treading water season after season. I think they're 9-7, 8-8. They're the ultimate team where they'll win a few games, they'll lose a few games.
They could get to 9-8 and not get in.
Yeah.
But 9-8 will be enough to keep him his job.
Yeah, a winning record, excuse me, will keep him his job. Absolutely.
Keeping up.
It's been no, well, somebody's puppy that I've had to look after has only slept one night out of the 5 that I've had him.
Slept fine for me when I had him. Sleeping now.
He is sleeping now. Brilliant. I mean, Zimmer will keep his job with a winning record if he wants to stay. Kirk Cousins now has the most 300-yard passing games for the Vikings, beating Dante Culpepper.
I was going to say they've had one other
Yeah.
I was going to
quarterback.
say they've moved on from a lot.
Yeah, they have. But, he is putting up numbers.
It's not on him. It's never been on him. The
Exactly.
wide receiver core is very good. The running game's
I think
good when Dalvin Cook.
overall,
The offense has been fine.
They didn't have Dalvin Cook. Alexander Mattison has been a decent step in. It's not on the offense at all. It's the defense.
And yet the defense had 3 interceptions of Matt Stafford in this game.
Matt Stafford had a terrible
And
game.
they did not capitalise enough.
Matt Stafford needs to realise he's not in Detroit now.
Well, yeah.
You can't play Matt Stafford's 0-2 in playoffs.
Yes.
He's never won a playoff game.
I think that's going to change.
Well, I hope it. Well, I don't hope it does because I don't want only just to prove me right. But
Is Matt Stafford the new Phillip Rivers?
well, you just want I think he's flattered to deceive this season. Because he's been an upgrade on Goff, but not for the amount. They didn't get him that expensive. But has
Maybe
he been
Goff
that
wasn't
good?
that bad.
I don't think Goff ever was that bad. He
was
obviously
just
didn't
the
have
scapegoat.
he didn't have the trust of McVay, but he wouldn't have thrown some of these interceptions that Stafford's thrown.
We wouldn't have been capable of throwing them that far.
No, but I get that, but
No, I agree. Stafford's made some
he's had some
boneheaded
terrible
decisions.
games.
Yeah, he has had 1 or 2 terrible games. On the whole, he is a massive upgrade.
I was in an important fantasy game. It was very stressful.
What it comes down to.
We'll come to that at the end of the show, I'm sure. Sony Michel, 27 carries, 131 yards, touchdown. He's been brilliant stepping in.
Do you know he has one of the highest snap percentages in the last couple of weeks? He's on 92% of the snaps he's been on the field.
He's been playing really well.
There's no
I
Henderson.
didn't know that.
No Henderson.
Well, Henderson was in this game, but he's now out.
Briefly.
He's now done
Yeah.
for the season.
Is he? But they brought Cam Akers back off injured reserve.
Yes.
At the end of the season. So if he's genuinely fit, you can lead with Michelle and have Akers backing him up.
Yeah, Sonny Michel's been playing a lot of snaps last
Yeah.
couple of weeks.
Like I say, Henderson is now properly injured again. I believe he's
ACL, was it?
Re-damaged his ACL. So he's out.
But to be fair, you look at the players that the Rams have brought in this season, kind of mid-season as well. So, Sonny Michel, Beckham, and Von Miller, they've all had an impact. They've all been, good buys, essentially. Odell Beckham had another touchdown this week. Von Miller is getting pressure on the quarterbacks. Like we said, Sonny Michel's having good games, having a lot of game time.
Cooper Kupp's ridiculous.
Not one that got people he brought in, but it's good management of the team. And Stafford's had a bad game. The run game's taken over. For me, if that'd be a worry, is that the Rams have got more than one way to win.
Stafford also lost a fumble.
He did. Yeah.
That's because he's
one
not
of
as
his
close
worst
to the
games of
ground.
season. Justin Jefferson passed Odell Beckham for the most receiving yards by any player in their first 2
Yeah.
seasons in the NFL.
Yeah, we touched on it last week.
We did.
We said it was going to happen.
He is, and yet he is underrated because he plays for the Vikings.
I think it's just because he plays alongside Adam Thielen, who scored 10 touchdowns so far this season.
And there is that.
So
as well.
I think he gets a lot of yards, but sometimes Thielen gets the glory. So
Thielens been out for the last few weeks. I mean,
he's still got 10 touchdowns.
He's
on
still
the year.
got 10 touchdowns, but it's just a great wide receiver combo. I think we're lucky at the moment in that there are so many good wide receivers in the league.
Definitely.
And
So, bearing in mind what we've just said about Matt Stafford and what we've said about the Cardinals, we think the Rams are winning this division.
Yeah,
They're confident.
They're coming into they've got that momentum, haven't they?
I think so. I think they will win it, and then it's going to be a race to see if 3 teams are coming out of this division.
Yeah, what did you say if the Niners win?
The Niners have to win and the Saints lose to the Panthers for the Niners to be guaranteed
This
a
week.
playoff this week.
There's a chance.
I mean,
We're holding the 6th seed at the moment, aren't we?
To be fair, the way the Saints are
Still
playing,
holding the 6th seed, the Niners.
big chance.
Well, before we get to the Niners, we'll quickly discuss the other team in the NFC West who aren't going to make the playoffs. Bears 25, Seahawks 24. Pete Carroll took responsibility for this loss, but there's so much wrong with the Seahawks.
Apparently not. Not according to Pete Carroll. They do not need to rip it all down.
Well, because if they do, he'd be gone.
They do need to rip.
Tries to hold on to job.
70-year-old man doesn't like change.
I think it's well known that the quarterback wants out, and he's he's one of 2 quality players on this team, the other being Bobby Wagner. I think you look down the rest of this team.
Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf.
Tyler Lockett especially.
You can build around that.
Yeah, Tyler Lockett as well. But I think you can't.
DK Metcalf's not had a great season this year.
No.
Because he can only run one route.
He had a great start, and then
Last year he was really
something
good.
got on his mind.
He's had some off-field issues, hasn't he?
He's had some. But
He's been a bit distracted.
you take Russell Wilson out of this team, and 5-10 would be a good result.
They did take
They're
Russell
good,
out of this team, and they were fucking awful.
They're terrible.
Yeah, Geno Smith did not help.
Carson's been out all season as well, hasn't he?
Yeah,
Not a
exactly.
running
But
game
he's
at
been
all.
out. That's every season he's injured, isn't he? Every season.
Yeah, but we should discuss Rashard Penny has been brilliant the last few weeks. 17 carries, 135 yards, touchdown.
If you get a first round running back, he should be good.
Is his 3rd or 4th season, and he's barely contributed before.
4th.
But at least he's now stepping up.
Time.
In this game, we got to see the standard 1-yard receiving touchdown for Jimmy Graham. Who's
That's
now
a great catch.
Now
to be
4th
fair.
amongst tight ends ever as touchdown receptions.
classic
And it really
tight
was,
end
and it's
touchdown.
absolutely what he's in the game for, which is just to be a massive guy in the end zone when you're there. It's a great weapon to have. I did pose this question at the weekend: is Nick Foles currently the best quarterback on the roster for the Bears because he now has a win? Justin Fields has 2, and Andy Dalton has 2, I think.
No,
I mean, no.
Is he
I
not?
really don't know.
It's just like, yeah.
Is he not? Justin Fields is a
Justin
rookie.
Fields has got the most potential.
That's
But hasn't really shown much, I don't think.
Between
He's
Dalton,
been running backwards most of the time.
Yeah, agreed.
Dalton has got nothing.
Dalton
left.
looks done.
He's done. And Foles, he always plays okay for 3 or 4 games a year.
Yeah.
I mean, I would say the Colts would probably kill for Foles or Dalton right now with Carson Wentz out.
Yeah, maybe.
And that's fine because they are both backups. And you're right.
you have to remember Foles was the 2nd best quarterback at Jacksonville, behind Minshew and just above Jake Luton. I mean,
it's a fair point.
I think it's pronounced Luton.
24 of 35, 250 yards and a touchdown, but he was so poor in the first half. And then when they needed him to step up, he did that Nick Foles thing where all of a sudden he can't get it wrong. I know it only happens once or twice a season, but I don't see that out of Andy Dalton. And Justin Fields is a rookie who gets picked off or crushed very easily. So right now, Nick Foles perhaps gives him the best chance to win the last couple of games. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, perhaps.
well, maybe.
It just doesn't matter.
No, it doesn't matter.
It absolutely doesn't
These
matter.
2 teams are both 5 and 10.
Yeah. So
It's over.
yeah.
These
so
2 teams
Pete
could
Carroll's first losing season
God
of the
knows.
season.
Yeah.
And they haven't finished bottom of the division since like 2006 or something.
Since it became
For
a
the
14
Bears,
division.
they play the Giants this week, so it doesn't matter. They'll win.
Oh,
And then they finish off with a game against the Vikings.
the Bears versus Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm. I might not
bad,
bother
innit?
with that
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
I've got something to do, like washing both my remaining hairs.
I did think about putting the Giants defense in for fantasy.
Bears' defense hasn't been valid as a fantasy defense for a while. Might be worth a go this week, though.
It's not, but I tell you, Robert Quinn's having a great season.
Yeah, that's true. He is
He's
a great
good.
player.
He's a great player, yeah.
Okay, we can leave that game behind where it deserves to be and move on to Niners 17, Tetons 20.
We leave this game.
Did
behind
not
as well.
see this coming.
No.
If
Oh,
I'm
I
honest. Did you?
Yeah.
I did not. Tell me why.
Because Jimmy Garoppolo's had a few good games in a row, and
It was due a bad one.
he was due a bad one, and the bad one he had.
Top running back was out as well.
Yeah. To be fair, Tennessee played a great game. They stopped us running the ball. And
Yeah.
once you start doing that and you start leaning on Jimmy G to win you the game, that's when the Niners are in trouble.
Is Jimmy G, I've said this before, is Jimmy G not the most Kirk Cousins person outside of Kirk Cousins in the league?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is
Yeah,
that
very
is that
similar.
where he's at?
I
so.
think Cousins is slightly better.
Yeah,
Fair enough.
probably
Because
is.
Cousins will regularly throw for 300 yards, as you said earlier in the day, whereas Jimmy very rarely will throw for more than 220. What did he
To be
get
fair,
this week?
he got 322.
Yeah, but he also got two interceptions.
and they were ugly interceptions.
Isn't
They were
he,
bad.
Isn't he also playing with a busted hand?
Now
Chipped hand,
he's
yeah.
got a chipped bone in his thumb and torn ligaments, so
Yeah.
he's a doubt for the weekend.
So Trey Lance time.
It is against the Texans. So if we're going to drop Jimmy for a game, this might be the game.
If there is a time to bring in a rookie quarterback, it's probably against the Texans.
Yeah, you've only won one game when turning the ball over twice or more under Kyle Shanahan.
And
Incredibly.
AJ Brown was incredible in the second half.
But
So we were,
Yeah.
the game totally swung. We were 10-0 up.
Yeah.
And then there was a bad, I saw the second half, I didn't see the first half, and there was a bad interception at the end of the first half. And in the second half, AJ Brown just basically went,
Completely agree with you. AJ Brown had a great game.
well, they just started targeting our cornerbacks, which are not good enough.
It highlights the lack of quality in the 49ers backfield, isn't it?
He had 8 receptions on third down, which is the most
They-
by
they-
any single player.
They
since they
basically
tracked it.
just stopped running the ball, and they just started going, "Where's AJ Brown?" And it was just, he was just beast mode.
The Titans moved to 10-5, and this should be enough now to see them win the division. I know the Colts are close, but
It should be. They
if
should
both
do it.
teams play out their relative schedules the way we think they will, the Titans will hang on and win the division, and then they might get Derrick Henry back.
They
And
will get
all of
Derrick
a sudden,
Henry back.
all of a sudden, this team is built to win in the playoffs on the back of a
Julio
player
as well.
back. Yeah,
So you'll have a fresh. Yeah, but he's on the pitch.
Yeah,
so
It's a
you know,
threat, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like you've got to take him out of the game as such. If you're the
if you just
opposing
get him running
defense.
slants,
Yeah.
it's fine. It's just like having another tight end,
Yeah,
isn't it?
absolutely.
So that's absolutely fine. And if you've got a fresh Derrick Henry, normally at playoff football he's just battered and beaten up. So if you get a fresh one, a fresh angry one, and then you've got Donta Foreman who's done okay,
yeah.
and you've realised he's okay now, so you can take a little bit of workload off of
And
Henry.
their defense has a massive step up from last year as
And,
well.
and I think Mike Vrabel's a very good game manager
Yes.
again.
Yeah,
you
yes.
know, so
learn from the best.
yeah, so I think it'll be interesting,
I-
really interesting.
They've got the Dolphins this weekend. I think
That's a big match.
big
isn't
match.
It?
I think they might lose that, which would
I also
leave
think
them
they might lose that.
which
Yeah.
I think I can see them ending up on the same record as the Colts. I don't know who wins in the head-to-head.
Titans do because Titans beat Colts twice early in the
there you
season.
go. That's
So
just
the Colts, the
The,
Titans are basically 2 games ahead.
Yeah.
You know, we were saying injuries are not an excuse, and everybody's got COVID, and the Titans have had 87 players play in one game at least this season, which is the most by any team ever. And like, it's no wonder they've suffered dips in form with some of these problems that they've had. They're doing extremely well to still be in the playoff mention.
They had such a good start.
Yeah,
It
well, that
helped.
helps, obviously.
It helps.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's not much to say other than the fact that the Niners, if they win out, will be in.
yeah, the last game is against the Rams, so
We do. We need to win the Texans game.
yeah, like I said, if we beat the Texans and the Panthers beat the Saints, we're in.
We do tend to beat the Rams, though.
Yeah, we do have the Rams number, so yeah, there's that. This will be the one time we don't beat them.
Yeah.
When you really need to.
Absolutely.
Right, let's talk about one team who's clinched their playoff place, the Chiefs, who scored 36, and one team who haven't, but are still clinging on in there despite being terrible. This is the Steelers, who only scored 10. This wasn't a contest.
10 is generous.
Yeah, this wasn't a contest. The Chiefs went to town and could easily have scored even more.
Yeah, absolutely. The Chiefs absolutely like that. The scoreline of 36-10 to the Chiefs is flattering to the Steelers. They were terrible for pretty much the whole game, past their last run, which ended in a touchdown. Like they were so bad that Mason Rudolph came in. And
I mean, it's the right time of year.
yeah, but we've said it for a couple of weeks now.
Thanks, John.
Yeah.
I liked it.
Yeah, I forgot about that. We've said it for the last couple of weeks now. The Chiefs just keep getting better and better and better and better. And this is probably their best game now. Best game of the season from an offensive point of view. The only down on it is Clyde Edwards-Helaire going out injured.
Although they've said it's not a broken collarbone. There's nothing on
his
the MRI.
touchdown run, by the way, was brilliant. He bounced off two players who then effectively tackled themselves.
And then,
He's been the difference in this offense.
Yeah, he's helped
Since he
turn
came
around.
back.
Yeah.
Like, he's not a superstar, but he does enough to allow space for Kelsey, and he allows space for Hill. But when he wasn't there, they just double teamed Hill, and then they started double teaming Kelsey.
You've got to
and they were just getting ruined.
Like the Steelers,
Well, they would do.
The Steelers tackling was terrible. We mentioned the Hilaire touchdown. One of Byron Pringle's touchdowns was just he ran through about 4 players. It was just ridiculous. Like, and you don't expect that from a Steelers team coached by Tomlin. Like they're a hard nosed team.
Do you think the defense just get fed up though?
Yeah,
they must just be sitting on the sideline thinking, whatever we do,
like you look at,
we're not going to do anything.
You look at Roethlisberger's stat line.
They're barely ever on the sideline.
I know. Roethlisberger's stat line for the game was 23 completions from 35 attempts, 159 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception.
But the pension just got a little bit bigger.
Yeah,
That's all he's there for. Pension pot. He's not going to win anything else.
No, if ever there was a game to say they need to move on from Roethlisberger, it's that. Imagine like Aaron Rodgers playing for this team. The difference, with the wide receivers they've got, with the running back they've got. The offensive line isn't great, but just imagine a decent quarterback on that team, and with that defense, you'd say the Steelers would be right up there in the AFC.
They'd be pushing the Bengals, if not winning this division. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I think we've run out of ways to describe the Chiefs. It's not a surprise, or it shouldn't be a surprise, that they've turned their season round. They've got the best quarterback.
Got a great coach.
They've got a great coach. They've got all the pieces that a team could need.
And they've probably got the number 1 seed in the AFC now.
And they probably do. And if you have to go through Arrowhead, there's a very good chance they make the Super Bowl again.
Yeah, look, and I think it's all about peaking, isn't it, at the right time? Like if the Niners get to the playoffs, they could be dangerous.
Yeah, the way they play football, they absolutely could be.
And it's all about that, isn't it? You know, the Colts were 0-3.
Yeah,
they've won 9 of the last 12 games.
Yeah.
If Wentz stays fit, the
Wentz
Titans get Henry back, and then you've got some other teams that are just limping into the playoffs. The Ravens, the Browns, the Steelers, whoever comes out of those 3, if it's not the Bengals, then they're limping into the playoffs. Every single one of them. The Cardinals are limping into the playoffs. It's all about momentum, isn't it?
Can I just mention, because we love funny names on this podcast, the top tackler for the Chiefs defense, DiCaprio Bootle.
DiCaprio Bootle, yeah. What's funny about that?
Who is a cornerback and a rookie cornerback out in Nebraska. I like the name.
Very nice standard name.
Yeah.
I'm not really
You're saying my Uncle DiCaprio's got a funny name?
Yes.
Is his surname Bootle? Right. The reason the Chiefs have clinched the win of the division is because the Chargers fell off a cliff this week. Chargers 29, Texans, wait for it, hold on, 41. They hadn't scored more than 24 points in a game.
There goes Derwin James's Comeback Player of the Year award.
I didn't hear many people calling for it. Just that other fella that's not here. Him that makes me look hirsute.
Imagine if you were playing in fantasy, though, and you picked up Justin Jackson. And then
left him on the
bench. Sorry, Chase.
That's not ideal. 11 attempts, 64 yards and 2 touchdowns. He was the best thing about the Chargers. This was a rare... I mean, this wasn't even a poor game for Justin Herbert. He had 336 yards and a touchdown, but he had 2 interceptions trying to force plays, basically.
Imagine if you did it and you normally have Eckler.
Well, that's the problem.
You normally have Eckler and you bought him as a bit of cover and you still didn't do it.
And this is why I heard people saying, well, the Chargers lost because they didn't have Eckler on the field, but Jackson did everything but
Eckler because the defense was turd.
He also
Absolute turd.
They had no Joey Bosa, and I think that they're also suffering from COVID like everyone else is, but they didn't have the players to come in to make up for it.
Their run defense has been shoddy all season. Rex Burkhead hadn't topped 60 yards in a game this season. He had 22 attempts for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's Rex Burkhead from like 4 years ago when he was
Royce Freeman had 34 yards.
Wow.
I thought
Big
he
Royce
was dead.
Yeah, Big Royce.
He was rolling.
Big Royce.
I mean, we just need C.G. Anderson back, and
absolutely.
and then we're getting sort of a Snap UK best of.
CJ Ham.
Yeah. Oh,
Ham.
Another good game for Davis Mills, though. 21 from 27, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns.
A couple of those throws. One of those touchdown throws was an absolute
brilliant.
peach.
I am telling you, the quarterback to replace Deshaun Watson is on the roster. He might not be the long-term future, but they don't need to waste picks trying to grab someone.
Don't pick there are no good quarterbacks in this year's draft. I mean, there's some decent ones, but not a top 10.
No, there are no franchise quarterbacks.
No. Give Davis Mills another year, please. Do the sensible
He's been
thing.
the second best rookie quarterback this year behind Mac Jones, and Mac Jones has got the Patriots and Bill Belichick. He has. You look at the stats, he easily has been. I hope that they will persevere with him because, like you say, some of the throws are beautiful. Yes, at times in other games he has made inopportunistic turnovers because he's a rookie.
And he only played 8 games at Stanford. Yeah, let's not forget that. He's not just a rookie. He is more or less a rookie if you put him back into the college game.
He also did all this without Brandon Cooks, who didn't play. Like, he was thrown to Chris Conley, who was once a Jaguar and wasn't good enough and got cut.
He was all right at the Jags, actually.
Yeah.
He was.
Brevin Jordan, Philip Dorsett, remember him?
Oh, yeah, I saw Dorsett. Did he get a touchdown?
No, but he had 3 catches for 55
Yeah,
yards.
I saw a nice catch down the sideline. I thought of John when I saw Dorset.
Why?
He's got short arms and flappy hair.
Oh, okay.
Brevin Jordan is a tight end who I've never heard of. He was a 5th round pick in 2021. Yeah, so he could be a rookie.
I will say, in terms of Derwin James, his comeback player of the year might still be on because he didn't play this week. So he had nothing to do with this result.
Fair enough, yeah.
That's a problem.
I mean, I hadn't seen that. I'll grant you that. He shouldn't be tarnished by this.
He shouldn't be tarnished
result.
by this. He had very little to do with it.
The Chargers are now 8-7, and they are at risk of not making the playoffs. That would be
they're level with the Raiders now, the contenders, the Raiders.
But if you think that the Browns not making it is a massive disappointment, this Chargers team is equally as bad.
No, it's not. It's not.
Really?
No, it's not equally. No, the roster at the Browns is far superior.
Is it?
I don't think it is.
I think it is.
I think they're level pegging.
I think Farr's doing a lot of work in that sense.
Like the safeties, the cornerbacks. I don't know. The wide receiver core is better at the Chargers. The running duo of Kareem Hunt is better.
But I mean, Austin, it's not a big downward step from
I'm not
Nick
saying
Chubb
maybe
to
I was a bit
Austin
upset.
Eckler.
But the Browns roster is better than the Chargers roster.
I don't know. It is.
I'm not sure it is. I would have said at worst they're level pegging, and their quarterback is far superior to Baker.
I think
the
quarterback is far superior. The
defense,
wide receiver,
I get Derwin James and
Keenan Allen is better than any combination of wide receivers on the Browns.
That's fine, but the defense of the Browns is superb.
With
the pure talent.
Yeah, defense of the Browns is
I would take the
better.
offense of the Chargers and the defense.
And that's what I mean.
Browns.
I think they're probably neck and neck.
Yeah.
So if you think one is disappointing, this one must also be equally disappointing.
You don't win the Super Bowl on paper. It's what they're doing.
True.
And
and they've been poor.
I mean, the Browns' defense is really good. They're on the pitch far too much. Then
Staley hasn't beaten a rookie quarterback this season.
Hasn't he?
He's 0-3 against rookie quarterback.
The anti-Bill Belichick.
The anti-Belichick, yeah. That's exactly who you want to be. Right, it's time for us to take a quick break so I can get some caffeine in me, and then we'll be back for the second half of the roundup. Well, that was some much-needed refreshment, and talk about Jim's dog. Ravens 21, Bengals 41, stamping their authority on a very tight division for me. Ravens at a disadvantage because no Lamar, no Hundley.
Yep.
And
Josh Johnson's only been there about 2 weeks.
Josh Johnson had not been, a week.
A week.
Josh Johnson, journeyman quarterback racking up another team. It's about his 15th NFL team. Didn't play terribly, actually. It was all right. But they're always on the back foot in this game. The Ravens are not good enough to keep overcoming these problems. It can't be done.
They have 33 players off either injured or with COVID in this game.
Yeah, and that's about 15 more than you can probably cope with on a normal squad.
Yeah. Easy, maybe 20.
Yeah. This is great for the Bengals because they needed to put on record some actual big wins to say, no, we are worth respecting, because they've flattered to deceive the last couple of times they've come up with these big games.
They're inconsistent, aren't they? Like they'll win a couple of games. I'm just looking down at their form. They win 2 games, they lose 2 games. They win a game, they lose a game. They win 2 games, they lose 2 games.
Same as the Chargers, aren't they?
Yeah, a little bit.
Neither have had more than a 2-game winning streak all season. I
Yeah,
don't think.
absolutely. You're
that's
spot
true.
on. Like the Bengals have got the Chiefs next, and then they got the Browns.
Is it going to be enough?
I can't see them beating the Chiefs, and they lost to the Browns quite miserably earlier in the season. I really like the Bengals. I think they're actually now a really entertaining team to watch. I think Joe Burrow, how he's not got in the Pro Bowl is beyond me.
Didn't they say he didn't get in because he threw too many interceptions?
Well, Lamar Jackson hasn't been playing for the last couple of weeks, and
Yeah,
even when he was playing, he wasn't that great.
No.
And he's in the Pro Bowl above Joe Burrow.
Gets voted early though, doesn't it?
If that's not name recognition, though,
It's madness.
like
He absolutely should be in the Pro Bowl.
he's like,
Is he going to be comeback player of the year, Burrow?
He's got to be in with a shout.
It's him or Nick. For me, it's him or Nick Bosa.
If the Bengals get beyond one game in the playoffs, it will be Burrow.
I think it'll be Burrow. He's been awesome.
It should be Burrow. I'm a
I wouldn't say it should
Bosa
be.
fan,
I say it
but
probably will be because he's a quarterback.
I think we can say that for a lot of things. I don't think that matters. The difference between Bengals last year and Bengals this year is staggering.
Yeah.
Quite frankly, and I
He is
think
the difference.
that is it. He is the difference, and I think 49ers. You can make the comparison. 49ers are not as good a team without Nick Bosa, but they're still a functioning team. The Bengals are very Bengali without Joe Burrow.
They're fairly Bengali with Joe Burrow.
But they're like
They are.
He gives
they're
them a
not,
chance
they
to
are-
win every week.
Yeah.
525 yards he had this week passing.
Yeah.
This is the fourth most of all time, isn't it?
Yep.
Since 1950.
Since 1950.
Do you know who's ahead of him?
No. Do you?
I do. Yeah.
I'm going to go Peyton,
Nope. They're
Marino?
Free. No.
Winston.
I'll be impressed.
Jameis.
I'll be impressed if you get any of these.
Foles?
Nope. So
Marino.
there's one you
I
won't
said
get
that.
who holds the record. It's Norm Van Brocklin.
I was just about to fucking say him.
Always goes too early, doesn't he? Ruins our fun.
Bart Starr.
No. There's another one who's 80s, famous for playing for the Houston Oilers.
Warren Moon.
Yes, or Moon. And there's one which you'll absolutely be amazed by, and he actually got the record, got the yards in a game in overtime, who played for the Texans.
TJ Watt.
No.
No, TJ Watt.
TJ Watt.
TJ
TJ
Yates.
Watt.
Sorry, TJ Yates was who I meant. Overtime for the Texans. When? A few years ago or
Yeah, good few years ago.
a few years ago?
Hoyer.
No, it's not going to be Hoyer. Wow.
Far off.
Oh, really? That sort of era?
That sort of era.
Wow. Well, it was Ryan Mallett,
No.
Ryan Fitzpatrick.
No.
Osweiler.
No.
A bit earlier than that.
We go Carr. Matt Sharp.
Yes.
Oh,
Wow.
fucking hell.
Matt Sharp is in the top 4 for
Wow.
yards passing
And
a
if
game.
that doesn't prove that
Was it against the
you can use
Jags?
stats to prove
That must
anything.
have been against the Jags.
I will defend Matt Sharp a little bit here. For about 4 years for the Texans, he was a top
He was
10
decent,
quarterback.
yeah.
He was brilliant every year, but then he went off a cliff
That must
he
have been
fell
against
off.
the Jags.
We'll look that up at some point. Yeah, I mean, so the Bengals have got to be favourites for this division now. If you can have a favourite in this division, they've got to be.
It's just
They've
so
got the
tough.
most
That's
talent.
That's a tough schedule to finish, though.
Yeah,
I
it is,
think
yeah.
I think they're all so even. They've all shown they're even. That's why the division is so tied up. To have the Chiefs and are they away at the Browns? Because if they're in Cleveland in the snow, that's a tough game.
It is. It's at the Browns.
Yeah,
It's a tough game.
I don't know.
That defense as well. It's not the Ravens defense, which doesn't have anyone on
Do
it.
I think they've been the most rounded team all season in that division? Yes. And but are they going to be enough in that schedule? I don't know.
If they don't make it through,
I think the Steelers might do it.
yeah, you're going to be able to look at like one game we're going to look back on and think that's the game the Bengals should have won. Because there's been a couple of times this season where I don't know how they've not
It's
won
going to
the
be
game.
that tie game. That tie game is going to be the decider in that division.
Yeah, I think that's a very good shout. I think you could well be right.
It was week 11 of the 2012 season, and I'll give Gary some credit. It was against the Jags.
It had to be against the Jags.
A career high 5 touchdown passes in a 43-37 overtime victory.
Oh, I remember that game.
Wow. You remember that game?
It was a good game.
You don't remember what happened last week?
You don't
I
live.
don't live in the past.
You don't live in the Yeah,
Kurt
exactly.
Schwarmer.
Right, Kurt Schwarmer.
I almost thought that's who you said.
Monday Night Football, Dolphins 20, an extremely depleted and poor Saints 3. Dolphins, first team ever to lose 7 in a row and win 7 in a row.
In the same season.
They're marching into the playoffs because this team plays hard football.
I
Brilliant.
don't know if it's that. They also play the Jets a lot.
Yeah.
Their schedule hasn't been that strong, and this game tells you absolutely nothing.
Yeah, it's true.
True.
Ian Book playing at quarterback.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that quarterback. There was talk of Kamara playing quarterback if they needed him.
I think they'd have been better off.
They gave Drew Brees a call to see if he'd make a comeback in midweek.
There is literally you understand absolutely nothing from this.
Yeah, that's fair. But you can't discount the fact that after a dreadful losing streak, 7 in a row, they have won 7 in a row. That counts for something.
It does, yeah.
You can say it was an easy game because of what the Saints are this week, but you've still got to do it.
You've
That's
still got to
a
go
hell
out.
of a
You've still got
comeback.
to go out there and win the game. We mentioned earlier the Bills losing to the Jags 9-6. It could have been a similar game on this.
Tua has become what we thought he would be. 200 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. If he can just lose those picks, then he'll be very much what we expect him to be. So that's the thing. They don't turn the ball over a lot. And again, it's defense-led football, isn't it? So, they've found a run game that's started to work a little bit, and that's been enough,
Philip Lindsay and Duke Johnson.
Yeah, but Duke Johnson's fine.
Duke Johnson's
always a good, I agree.
Always a good running
Philip
back.
Lindsay, I don't know how he's ended up where he's ended up. I don't get it.
No, I don't get it.
Been on the Texans and the Dolphins this year and just had no impact.
He was great for the Broncos. I don't understand why
I
they let
never
him
really
go.
saw it, I have to admit.
Oh, come on, no. He had some good games with the Broncos.
I just saw the Dolphins' schedule, and since they're lost to the Bills, I mean, it starts with a.
Just read it
Oh
out.
no! I'm just looking.
I've got it here.
Basically, there's a win against the Ravens. The rest of the teams are all shit.
Read them out.
That's a fair point.
So Texans, Ravens,
But they had a few more
Jets, twice, Giants.
Oh, they're shit.
Yeah, I mean
Panthers.
That's what I said.
Panthers.
the Saints,
But
yeah.
the thing is, you can only play who's
But
in front of you.
My point is, your comment of their storming into the playoffs, a bit like the Patriots.
Confidence at the right time.
Patriots had a very easy
Yeah,
schedule
yeah.
for 5 or 6 games. Everyone jumped on the bandwagon, and I think you're going to see
Yeah,
the
yeah.
same with this.
So,
Like,
okay, so they won some easy games, but they also lost to the Jags and the Falcons
Yeah.
in that losing streak. Like, they lost some games that, on paper,
and
should
who have they
won.
got to finish? So they've got the Pats and who?
Well, they got the Titans and then the Pats.
I think they could win both of those games.
And I think they could also lose both of those
Yeah.
Yeah,
games.
quite easily.
Yeah, of course.
So I think they have a shot at the playoffs, but are unlikely to get there, in my opinion.
To pick up on your point earlier, I mean, I know 7 or probably 5 games ago, there was talk of the Dolphins trading for Deshaun Watson. Based on like Tua's last 5, 6, 7 games, I'd be surprised if there's talk of that going into the off season because
The chances of the Panthers getting him is much more.
you can understand
Yeah,
that.
I mean, yeah, because
I think there'll still be talks because of that, because people need hits on websites. So it will be plastered everywhere.
Yeah,
the talk may be there, but I don't know if
there'll
there'll
be
be
coming
substance
from
behind the talk.
Will it actually be from the front office? Is a
Yeah,
different
absolutely.
thing, isn't
But I
it?
just think, like, Tua's been good. Like, if you look at his stats, you look at kind of the advanced stats around accuracy and pass completion, he's probably been a top 10 quarterback over the last kind of 7 weeks. If he can just stay fit and they can have a good defense, all right, he could be a slightly better Baker Mayfield.
That's fine.
And that would be all right.
If what they could, whilst he's still a rookie, use that money, give Xavier Howard what he wants,
Yep.
and get a running game.
Yep.
Which I know that they're getting one, but just get a better one.
Make sure the offensive line is good,
Yeah.
because that's not good at the moment.
And
I think Tua, one, looks fitter than he's looked since he's been in the league, and he looks
more confident as
He looks
well.
bigger than he's looked.
Yeah.
Whether he's had a late growth spurt or something, I'm not sure. But he's definitely been doing some work in the gym, and he makes better decisions than most rookies.
Yes,
and he's only just finalised.
Always one of his strengths at Alabama.
16-game season. He's probably just about finished, doesn't he?
Tua and Mac Jones, very similar players.
Yeah,
very similar players, and there's nothing wrong with that. They come out the same.
If he had a stronger run game, and the run game has improved, if he had a really strong run game, everyone would be going, "Oh, he's a really good game manager. We can build around this."
Yeah.
I don't see much difference between him and Jimmy G.
No.
If they can build around him, keep the best bits of the defense, because Xavier Howard's been wanting out for a while now.
Find a decent pass rush. But Waddle is. He makes Tua look great because he is great as well himself.
And they played together at college.
Yeah.
We see it with Burrows and Chase. It's all about connections, isn't it?
Well, it is relationships. It's look what Dak and Dez never worked out.
Rodgers and Cobb.
That's it. Though when it works, keep feeding it.
So my favourite stat from this game before we move on was on opening drives this season, the Saints have only scored 6 points. But Ian Book threw a pick 6 on their opening drive, so they've now conceded more points on their own opening drives than they've scored because they conceded 7. That is not good. He was their 4th starting quarterback this season.
Yeah,
it's done.
He wasn't great at Notre Dame.
No,
it's 24. They brought him in as a project, and he
24 straight losses for Notre Dame starting quarterbacks in the league as well.
Well, they don't have Michael Thomas. Yeah, and we hear very little about Michael Thomas. We've got no idea what's going on with that situation.
I think he'll be leaving in the.
But we've not heard anything. No,
he's injured.
So you've had no Jameis, we've had no Michael Thomas, and say what you like about Jameis, he's an upgrade on every other quarterback they've played this year.
Absolutely.
with Jameis, they wouldn't have won this division, but I think they would have got in the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree.
Because the Panthers are that bad.
Yeah, I agree. Right, moving on. Broncos 13, the still contending Raiders 17. I know it's crazy. I know it's mad, but they're 8-7. They're half a game back from the Chargers. They've still got a shot at the playoffs with 2 weeks to go.
I bet their home record is much better than their away record, the Raiders. I think other teams just go to Vegas.
They're 4-4 at home.
Are they?
Yeah.
Okay, then. I just had this idea that other teams were going there and partying.
So they're 4-3 away.
Partying.
Well, yeah, fuck it. We're in Vegas. It doesn't matter.
Derek Carr, 20 of 25, 201 yards, touchdown and a pick. Nothing exciting.
Before going into this game, very English term, on offense, what would you say is like the Denver strength?
The defense.
No, sorry, on offense.
On offense.
What would you say would
their
be...
defense?
Sorry, the dog's chewing the power cable.
On offense, where's their strength?
Well,
run game.
The run game.
Yeah.
So why the hell did they only run it 16 times?
I don't know, especially when Drew Lock was starting. So Drew Lock is currently the worst qualified quarterback in the league this year, and it's not even close.
Melvin Gordon.
Look at all the other terrible quarterbacks. He's the worst.
Yeah. By worst qualified, do you mean he's got the worst exam results?
No, for passes thrown, he's the worst rated quarterback.
You've got a good run game, and you got your backup quarterback. Okay, Melvin Gordon ran it for 7 carries for -4 yards. But I just think you've just got to keep just hammering the rock on this occasion.
Plugging away.
Just keep going. Because you'll wear a defense down with Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams.
It's just a bad game by 2 middling teams.
You're right.
This game could have gone either way.
If Teddy had been playing, the Broncos would have won this game.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah. Fuck me. We all just agreed on something. I don't know what to do. It's 10:05 at night.
Don't worry. We're all agreeing that Drew Lock's shit. It's not much.
Yeah.
I mean, quite frankly.
Derek Carr's stat line was pretty decent in the end, 20-25, 201, and a touchdown and interception. But yeah, you're right. If Teddy was in this game, this is an easy win for the Broncos.
I think that's all we need to say about that game. The Raiders are doing well to be hanging in there, but they won't get through. Right. Another team doing well to hang in there, the Falcons. So they beat the Lions 16-20, and Arthur Smith has won 3 more games than the Falcons won last year, so you can't ask for any more out of him. They haven't looked good very often, but this game showed me that Matt Ryan is still worth building around because he was really good.
I think we've been saying it all season. Matt Ryan's really good. Kyle Pitts is going to be really good. Russell Gage is okay. They're missing Calvin Ridley.
Yeah.
They have no offensive line. They have defense doesn't turn up.
Yeah.
But they compete against the bottom third of the league.
Yeah.
because they sit just above them. They're probably the 10th worst team in the league.
They spent every draft pick on defense going into the next draft. I'd be like, yep, fair play, because I think Arthur Smith is a good head coach / offensive coordinator as there is at the moment. He's got a great quarterback. Calvin Ridley good running back. Calvin Ridley comes back, and you've suddenly got a few different options in terms of good pieces, and it's a completely different. I mean, it's a completely different team.
They need to repair the O-line, which isn't great, and then I think you've got your staple parts. You've got 2 good wide receivers. You've got 2 good running backs. I know Mike Davis hasn't been brilliant this year, but with a good O-line to block for him, I still think he's a pounder of the ball.
Really talented tight end.
If you put Mike Davis,
talented quarterback.
I'll tell you what, if you put Mike Davis into Buffalo,
I agree. I don't know.
I think
he'd be an upgrade on what they've got.
He's not
great.
Proved that,
but he needs an O-line to do the work for him, and that's where he's fallen apart. Cordero Patterson doesn't need the O-line, but he wasn't good. My point I was getting to was Davis and Patterson. This is one of their worst games as a duo this season, and all Matt Ryan had to do was not make a mistake, and he didn't. He only had 215 yards, 1 touchdown, no turnovers, and that's the difference, because they only beat the Lions by 4, but the experienced quarterback here just did enough.
Yeah.
Didn't try and ping the ball down the field and get picked off.
The Lions' passing game is still not great. It'll have the odd game where it will fire.
They started Tim Boyle.
I was going to say, they were without Jared Goff. Maybe if Jared Goff was in this match, it might have been different. He might have.
The fact that we can only say my dog tells you that
exactly.
there's still a problem.
That's a very fair point.
I'm assuming Jack Fox is the punter. They did have a completely fake punt, didn't they?
Do you know what? That was on, I think it was a 4th and 1, and they were going for it, and there was a penalty, and they went back to 4th and 6th. I was like, right, well, they're punting it, and then Dan Campbell threw the fake punt, and actually it was a really good play.
Amon-Ra St. Brown has nearly 700 yards this season, 3 touchdowns, averaging 9.3 yards per reception.
He's a wide receiver.
He's next year he'll be their genuine number 1, I think.
Yeah,
he's put himself in that position. This is a terrible passing team, and to put up those stats is pretty impressive.
He is the better St. Brown, but I think they found a good player there.
Cheaper than Golladay as well.
Yep,
and fitter.
Oh, I didn't know you fancied him.
Oh yeah.
Right, let's talk about the toilet bowl. It wasn't the worst game of the week, but it should have been. Jags 21, Jets 26. Maybe Urban Meyer wasn't all that's wrong with the Jags, but this. I don't know what to say.
Trevor Lawrence is having a mare.
Oh,
you just like.
I know it's early to jump on that bandwagon, but he has got to really look at himself and maybe cut his hair and just rediscover who he's supposed to be.
My favourite stat of the week. Trevor Lawrence has as many tackles as passing touchdowns in his last 8 games with 1.
It is awful.
It's bad.
You feel for you don't feel for the Jags. Couldn't give a shit. But you finally have a
John's drawing by I don't give a shit train. I like it.
Yeah.
You have an interim head coach who finally remembers that James Robinson is there, and then he gets injured.
Yeah, 3 carries for 10 yards, and then he's done for the year with an Achilles tear. So
Carlos Hyde back in the game.
He's still not fit, is he?
No, it was Dare Agunbuale.
Wow.
I'm glad you said that.
I think I've done quite well.
Yeah, you did.
Any guy whose first name is Dare gets my vote, to be honest. And Tavon Austin carried the ball 3 times for 21 yards. I mean,
that is a rarity.
The poor man's called Darryl Patterson.
We were watching on TV earlier, and it's like one of the headlines on the talk show I was watching was like Trent Baalke is safe as GM, which is never a good headline to have because Trent Baalke is an awful GM at the moment. If you're Shad Khan, you just have to start again. Again. You fucked up the first time royally, but you know what? Kudos. You got rid of the absolute bullshitting decision you made.
He gave him enough chances to do it.
Yeah.
It got to get to the point where he had to get rid of it.
He had no choice. But I just think it's been so bad this year that you've got to get rid of the GM as well and actually start again.
When you going back to Trevor Lawrence, when you look at him and Tua, Trevor Lawrence has played 15 games now in the league. Mm-hmm. Tua's played 17 games.
18, 19, yeah.
Who would you be taking? Not based on what they did in college, but based on what you've seen.
Tua,
yeah.
all day.
Because he makes awful decisions.
Yeah, he does.
I think there's a
coaching.
I think some of it's that. Does he believe his own hype? Because I think
you have to an extent. I think the greatest superstars in the world of sports, have a massive ego because they have to have a massive ego. They absolutely do.
Trevor Lawrence is what most players in this league are, which is a confidence player, and his confidence is through the floor and has been since about week 3 when he suddenly realised, I can't win with this team.
Like they announced the coaches, or some of the coaches there are in contention, and Byron Leftwich, Doug Peterson, Todd Bowles, Kellen Moore, even Jim Caldwell. I think you have to bring in an offensive coordinator, and then you have to surround Trevor Lawrence with some quality coaching, and he's not had that. And some
of the passes he tries to make,
it's a massive step up.
Ridiculous.
Yes, they are, but I don't trust the people in his ear.
He believes he can make it, and I think that's actually I think that's a good thing, because you have to have that belief. But it's a bad thing at the moment because the decisions he's making are bad.
He's failed to score a touchdown in 7 of the last 8 games. He only failed to score touchdowns in 2 out of 40 college games. He's just crushed by this. He doesn't know where to turn.
Terrible coaching. Like some of the throws he makes, which he completes, are absolutely amazing. Like, I remember early in the season, he scored 1 or 2 touchdowns, which were like, holy fuck, he
throws an absolute bullet.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he's colourblind. Like, that's my main concern, because
I just don't think you can read anything into.
No, I'm fully prepared to ignore this year.
Yeah.
But I carry Gary's concern, which is if Trevor Lawrence from college doesn't show up next year at the start of the year, then because his confidence will be so damaged.
How many times have we been told this is? And I know we don't always get told they're generational talent, but we get told a lot. This quarterback is amazing, and they just do not translate into the NFL.
It is rare that pretty much the whole of the scouting community will turn around and go, this is the number 1 pick. There's normally 1 or 2 doubters.
Andrew Luck was the last one.
Trevor Lawrence was this one. No one doubted it. Not even Mel Kiper, who's the usual kind of, left field, I'm going to pick someone else just to get a few headlines or a few clicks, like you said earlier. Everyone was so nailed on that Trevor Lawrence has every tool, every physical attribute, the mental capacity to be an NFL quarterback. He's been fucked over by some terrible, terrible, terrible coaching, and you're right to have doubts, because you look at his stat line, you look at some of the throws he makes, and they're absolutely terrible.
I think the thing is, if you had the touchdowns to balance it, it would give you a bit more faith.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like if you're throwing 2 interceptions and a touchdown, at least there's something to work
belief on. Like we've always said about Manning's first year, 26 touchdowns, 28 picks, but everyone went, he threw 26 touchdowns, that's incredible. We can erase the mistakes. Trevor Lawrence has got, 7 touchdowns this year? And 15 picks?
It's bad.
It's coaching. That's not good. And it will just take a lot to overcome that. We ought to talk briefly about the Jets. Braxton Berrios' 103-yard kickoff return, which is the longest by the Jets in 10 years, and it was really good. He's quietly been one of their better players.
He's been good. Michael Carter's had a good game as well. Zach Wilson had a decent game.
And a great run for a touchdown.
The run,
54-yard run. That was
the
incredible.
Longest by a Jets quarterback ever.
I believe so. Yeah.
It was like a proper running back, keeping on the edge. It was lovely.
He shows glimmers of being brilliant. I think he's brilliant at evading pressure in the pocket.
When the plays break down and he's allowed to do what he wants, but I don't think he can follow coaching.
No.
I think that's a problem.
He needs another really strong quarterback coach or offensive quarterback.
Do you want to hear a roll call of shit? Here's a roll call of shit. I love a roll call of shit. Zach Wilson is the 5th rookie quarterback in the Jets' history with 2,000 or more passing yards. The other 4, do you want to have a stab in the dark at the other 4 rookies?
Sanchez.
Mark Sanchez, yes.
Geno.
Namath.
Geno Smith. Joe Namath. He's the only good one on this list.
Testaverde.
No, Sam Darnold is the last one on this list. So 1, 2, 3 of them turned out to be terrible, and one of them turned out to win a Super Bowl.
We guessed quite well that, though.
You did very well.
To be fair, Namath, there's a lot of hype around Namath. He
won the Super Bowl, and then if you look at his record, he threw like 30 more picks than he did touchdowns overall.
Yeah, that's right.
But back then,
that's the Jets' only little piece of glory.
Literally, we're just going to stamp on it for a second.
It was about 70 years ago.
It's been a shower of shit since.
Right, we should move on.
Black and white, for fuck's sake.
He looked good in a fur coat.
Yeah. Right, Buccaneers 32, Panthers 6. Matt Rule's in trouble. Sam Darnold was back. This is a fucking mess at the Panthers. I don't have a problem with them bringing Sam Darnold back in to see whether he can rekindle anything, but I don't think he can.
I don't think it matters. That's a team that's basically for the last 6 weeks been like, yeah, let's get to the end of the season.
Look, for the last 3 years, this has been the Carolina McCaffreys. So without McCaffrey, like I don't know what you're expecting. He's not there. He's not Christian McCaffrey. They lost half of their defense. Like, what exactly were you expecting them to do? I think they gave hope at the start of the season that there might be some talent there, but it was so thin. There was no depth to it. As soon as you lost one or two players, they just showed their true colours, and they're a poor team. They need a massive rebuild.
Yep.
They played 2 quarterbacks in this game. Darnold went 15 of 32, which is below 50% completion for 190 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Cam, 7 of 13.
Scraped above that 50%
Just
mark.
scraped 61 yards, no touchdowns, 1 pick.
Did he not run in for a touchdown?
He did, yeah.
Hey,
5
of
rushing
course he
attempts,
did.
42 yards.
Oh,
no, he didn't. No, he didn't.
Oh,
score a
no,
touchdown.
exactly. The first game he hasn't got in.
Scored a touchdown. And he's now thrown, 7, 8 interceptions
He
in
should
5
be running
games.
back. I've already told you this.
Well, they could do with it because their other running backs were
I would
Chuba
put
Hubbard,
both
who got
on the
9 yards.
field. Just put both on the field.
Yeah.
Darnold, they can do flea flickers. You might as well just have some
Gotta
fun
try
in the last
something.
few games. Why would you not put Darnold and Cam there?
It's just
Because what's worse than a unreliable quarterback?
Two
unreliable quarterbacks.
Well done. Very good.
Fucking hilarious.
You're just gonna confuse your own offense of who's gonna overthrow me.
fair point. It's just a mess, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Like, I don't know what positives you can take out of this game for the Panthers.
I can tell you what positives. I can
There's
take
only
out.
2 games of the season left. That's
a
the,
good one.
is
And the
it?
second one is your starting quarterback next season is not on your roster.
Well,
If Sam Darnold would come back in and put 250 yards and a couple of touchdowns up, they'd be saying, we've got a decision to make.
But this is now like next year will be like the 3rd year under Matt Rule if he's still there.
Yeah, he'll still be there.
I think he still will be there.
But
But I think this is his
I think he's
make
on
or
his
break
last
year.
leg.
Yeah.
And you're going into your 3rd season now with your 3rd starting quarterback. Like, get it sorted early. You have to get even like we moan about Shanahan. Even he got it sorted in the 1st season where he picked Garoppolo. And all right, Garoppolo hasn't been great, but at least they had a fix in there, and he's undone by injuries. Like, the Panthers have gone from Bridgewater to now Darnold to
Back to Cam.
who they got rid of right at the
Sprinkled
beginning.
in some PJ Walker.
Sprinkling in a bit of PJ Walker and whoever subbed in for Teddy when he was injured last year.
Kyle Allen.
Yeah, thank you. What's the plan?
You know who they needed? Matt Moore from a few years ago.
They should have just stuck with Teddy.
They should have stuck
They
with
should
Teddy.
have stuck with Teddy.
We should talk about the Bucks. They're getting hot at the right time of the year. They're 11-4. Yeah. They are doing it with some key pieces missing.
Yeah.
Can we point out that Antonio Brown have missed the last 10 weeks, I think?
Just come
between
straight
injury
back in
and suspension for being a dick. 10 receptions, 101 yards.
Yep. And
That's incredible.
I picked him up and put him on my fantasy bench, but it didn't matter.
Oh, well, that's good.
But there's no Godwin and there's no Mike Evans.
No.
Yeah, Mike Evans is now on the COVID list as well.
But luckily they've got Brait and Gronk.
Yep.
Gronk is still. They've also got Cyril Grayson.
It's all about Cyril Grayson.
I don't
Ronald
know, but
Jones
he had
was...
free receptions.
Rojo's done okay.
Rojo was expected
Rojo's
to
good.
step up for Leonard Fournette. 20 attempts, 65 yards and a touchdown. But Keyshawn Vaughn, remember that name? 7 attempts, 70 yards and a touchdown.
Oh, yeah, but you're forgetting about Lev Bell's -1 yards off 2 carries.
I don't know why they
Bell
signed
and
him.
Brown back on the same team.
It's just
Christ.
depth, isn't it? And that's what, at the moment, with everything going on
Yeah.
with COVID, actually having depth is probably a good thing. Look at the
Brady
Ravens.
must be owning that locker room, though. He must be just walking around with all his Thanos rings on all the time, just going, if you bitch me about, I'm going to snap my fingers or something. Because otherwise, I don't know how you can control that mess.
It's a fair point.
Do you bring Bell because you just think
Make Antonio Brown happy.
Antonio Brown happy and just distract him with so much shenanigans that he's not going to do anything stupid like try and beat up a woman again or fight with the police, but
Or fake a COVID.
fake a COVID. He's lucky he's talented. If he wasn't, he'd be in
I'd just
prison.
love to know what Brady's agent fees are. He must be making so much money.
I don't know which year the Buccaneers came into being. Was it 1974? I believe. This is the first time they've had consecutive 11-win seasons since about 1974.
So it's the first time they've won the division since
last
2014.
2007.
No, 2007. Yeah. And Cam Newton, this is his 13th straight start defeat for the Panthers. He hasn't won since week 9 of 2018 for the Panthers. Oh, it's over. It's
burn the shirts.
Yeah.
Move on.
Absolutely.
There's a problem. This team is collapsed.
Luckily, they only pay Darnold $19 million next year.
I get the feeling.
I don't think they will be.
No, I don't know.
They might take the cap hit, but...
Well, yeah.
Right, let's talk about another team that don't have their starting quarterback on the roster. The Giants 10, Eagles 34. We've Daniel Jones out injured, Mike Glennon out because he was shit. We got to see Jake Fromm start a game, and then he was hoiked for Mike Glennon because he was terrible.
I mean, really terrible.
John, this is a mess.
Yeah, we say this every week.
I know. I just like to look at you and listen to your little voice.
I know.
I mean, you're horrified, right?
I can't think of anything new to say.
There is nothing new to say about
I'm going to offer you an opportunity right now to change allegiances.
Well, no, I've just bought another fucking shirt. So
Rookie error. I mean, you could pick anyone. There's 31 other teams.
I was listening to a phone in on the way back from Ireland earlier today.
I bet your kids love that.
Oh, yeah, I love it. I'm
No,
driving.
a little birdie told me that Jim got very angry in the car with the kids because he was trying to listen to the phone in.
Anyway, I was listening to a phone in, and a guy rings in, and he's like, "Oh, I'm really upset because my son wants to change supporting football teams. He supports Norwich." I go, "Oh, well, he's young. How old is your son?" 32.
And you just thought of the Pharaohs.
Yeah, I just thought of the Pharaohs at that point. It's like, I wonder if they want to change allegiances from the Giants.
You know what? They've won Super Bowls more recently than we have.
Yeah, and there's no fun in supporting teams that win every. Like, I don't know what a Man City fan or whatever gets out of. If you're going to win every week, what's the point? It's that when you get a Super Bowl win every so often out of fucking nothing, that's more fun than.
That's fair, but
it must have been pretty horrific for the last 10 years, though, John.
I think
ever since the boat.
Do you know what?
There's been nothing to like about.
We talk about the Panthers, and the Panthers are with the Giants, or with the Lions, or with the Jags, or with everyone else. Jets. Just let the season end.
Yeah. We're
just looking for off-season the draft.
But it's amazing in this league how quick it can turn around because the Bills obviously hadn't been to the playoffs in 20 years.
Yes, absolutely.
And then for the last 3 years now, they've done really well. So it's
Browns
not game over, is it?
No, and it's
not, absolutely not. There are some good pieces on the Giants team.
There's some good pieces. It's the most important position on the pitch is the guy under centre, and he's fucking shit. And the two people beneath, backing him up.
Sam Darnold will be free next year.
Well,
and look, we can't be silly about this. You were up against a pure talent in Jalen Hurts as well.
It's very true.
It was really turning that Eagles team into a potential contender.
17 of 29, 199 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks, and 2 rushes for 7 yards. Not his greatest game on the ground, but he hasn't looked right from the ankle injury with the rushing. But he's winning with his arm. They put up 34 points.
Yeah, no, they did well against
dual threat.
Dual threat.
Good defense, though.
Good defense in the Eagles, yeah.
They are in the 7th position.
I was going to say, Eagles are 8 and 7. They're going to make the playoffs, right?
They're going to make the playoffs.
They've got a great chance in that division.
No, but it doesn't matter. Vikings are 7 and 8 in 8th position. They're not going to win out.
Yeah.
Atlanta 7 and 8. They're not going to win out. Saints are shit. I think the Eagles play for the football team, who are the only team left in the hunt.
And the Eagles have got to play the Cowboys as well.
I don't think it matters because I don't think either of those teams are going to win the 2 games that's going to be required to get over the Eagles.
What I will say is we all slated Nick Sirianni, me included.
Yeah.
And I think he's done a fantastic
job.
Great job. Yep.
And
Great
as much
job.
as I don't like Jalen Hurts as a quarterback, and I don't think he's the quarterback of the future, they're getting enough out.
So this is my question now for John, because John's told me what he thinks about Joe Judge. But look at what Nick Sirianni has done since the first 4 games, and look at what Joe Judge has not done. I don't like it. I don't think he's very good.
I think it's already just been decided that the GM, Dave Gettleman's going.
Yeah.
Which probably gets him a year.
I just use that as a reason to clear house.
Yeah, so I agree. So I think it's weak ownership in New York as well.
I don't think Daniel Jones is the answer at quarterback. I think we can all probably agree on that.
Oh, yes.
So, you've got I know we joke about it, but Russell Wilson's come out and said, the Giants are one team I'd go to. You've got draft capital, use that, go and get a good quarterback, go and get a new head coach, go and get a new GM, start again.
Yeah. I totally
Set your sights high. Russell Wilson is there for the taking.
There's nothing on this squad which says we're one piece away from winning a Super Bowl.
No. That's true. So, speaking of which...
I will pick you up on that Jalen Hurts not the quarterback of the future comment, because
he is.
He's been no worse than Tua, and he's been certainly no worse than Teddy Bridgewater either. So he might not be a franchise quarterback, but he's definitely there for the next couple of years.
Oh yeah, I think he probably will.
For where the
Why
Eagles
would
are.
Sirianni want to change?
I think
he probably won't.
I think he's better than when he came into the league last year and started playing. Much better.
I would not be surprised if the Eagles make a run at Deshaun Watson.
I would.
There's been rumours of it previously, and if those rumours stand there, there's still doubts about Jalen Hurts. He is a poor man, Lamar Jackson, and I don't think that Lamar Jackson will ever win a Super Bowl.
Oh, I think that's fair, but I don't know why you'd want to bring the shitstorm of Deshaun Watson down on your head.
If Jalen Hurts isn't ever going to bring you a Super Bowl, what are you doing? If you don't believe that as an organisation, what are you doing?
No. I'm not saying the organisation don't believe it. We're saying we don't believe it. I don't think Jalen Hurts is the reason you win a Super Bowl, but you could build around a team.
Nick Foles won a Super Bowl, so I'm sure Jalen Hurts could.
I don't like the argument that bringing in Watson's going to make you any more Super Bowl
Watson
worthy,
won
because
4 games last year with the Texans,
and he's not played for a year.
Texas, he was terrible.
It doesn't matter. He is not the one piece that makes a team win the Super Bowl.
I'm just saying.
Philip Rivers has played a game since Deshaun Watson's last played.
Okay, we should move on from this terrible game. The final thing I wanted to point out, though, Kenny Golladay and Kadarius Toney are the leading receivers for the Giants. Neither of them has a touchdown. Do you want to have a guess the last year that a team's top 2 leading receivers did not have a touchdown?
I love that.
It was for the Packers.
Was it in black and white?
Oh, in 1974, give that man a T-shirt. I mean, seriously though, how is that a thing?
A lot of running in the 70s.
Yeah,
it's all.
They were called John Staggers and Rich McGeorge.
I did tell you the wide receivers weren't that great at the Giants.
It doesn't matter.
Right.
It's the
quarterback.
Let's talk about blowout of the week. Football team 14, Cowboys 56.
Can we start by talking about the fight?
Yeah, let's talk about the fight. Daron Payne and
funny.
Daron Payne and someone else. Allen.
John Allen.
Yeah, they had a bit of a fight and then came out and said it's just like when brothers have a fight that lasts for ages.
They're not getting fined,
right?
No,
but you're the defense and you're getting absolute dicked upon.
Yeah.
There's gonna be frustration.
I don't mind it. I don't care.
It's showing passion.
This was Dallas's most points in a game since
1956.
No, but
1994.
No, but somewhere between the two of you. Week 6 of 1980.
I knew it was a long time ago.
I would have thought they would have put more on the 8.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is the Cowboys' performance we've been crying out for the last 4 or 5 weeks, and go and back it up next week. Because
that's it. Back it up.
You got a game against the Cardinals, who are wounded. Go and back it up next week.
Yeah,
this is what we wanted from Dak Prescott. He's capable of doing it.
It's not what we wanted.
What we expected.
What we thought we could have.
What we thought we had. Yeah.
I kind of. It's like Arsenal beat Norwich 5-0 this week. That tells us nothing.
Yeah, that's true.
Beating the football team at the moment tells us nothing.
That's a fair point.
I was trying to roll John up about Dak Prescott's performance on the way over it.
You can only play what's in front of you.
You can only play what's in front of you.
He still made the throws, and some of those throws were very nice.
Yeah, 28 of 39, 330 yards, 4 touchdowns, no picks. But
probably his best game of the season.
It's
definitely his best game.
But it was also the best game of the season for Cooper Rush. He went 2 of 3 for 70 yards and a touchdown. That's how bad the football team were.
And
they started throwing the ball to Zeke as well, which makes a difference.
True.
He's just as good a passing back as he is a running back.
He might be a better catching back right now.
The pick 6 by Lawrence was superb. Like he once again he ran like a running back it was incredible.
Yeah,
such an athlete.
The defense on the Cowboys has been good all season. Led by Micah Parsons, who's going to be defensive.
13 sacks he's got this season.
Awesome.
As a rookie.
And he plays everywhere, doesn't he?
It's kind of like Dan Quinn should get. Do they do it in like a assistant coach of the year or
I have no idea, but they should.
We'll create one.
If they do, Dan Quinn has to win that award because that defense has completely turned around this year.
Yeah,
and if the offense could do what they did at the beginning of last year when Dak was fit, why can't Dak win a Super Bowl?
It's strange because the offense last year was having to play lights out because the defense was
absolutely.
so shit.
Last week we were arguing, weren't we, Packers or Cowboys talent-wise, and that is so.
It's so hard
on paper.
Surely on paper the
Cowboys, yeah, absolutely.
And we were comparing them to the Rams, weren't we?
Quarterback.
That NFC top 4 is
painfully difficult to
Cowboys
separate.
the Cowboys have still got a chance of getting the number 1 seed.
They won't
because I think the Packers will probably win out, but they've got a chance.
They're so talented everywhere. I mean, if you're comparing, contrasting between them and the Packers, the difference is
the thing is
Rodgers and Adams to me he's the best receiver in football.
Well, I don't think the Cowboys need to be the number 1 seed because if they're number 2, they'll get to the championship game, and then Aaron Rodgers loses in the championship game every year anyway.
I knew that was coming. Taylor Heineke has had an up and down season. He's looked like a starting quarterback some games, and in this game, 7 of 22, 121 yards, touchdown, 2 picks. Kyle Allen completely outplayed him, came on 8 of 10, 67 yards and a touchdown. But why have I not heard Deshaun Watson to Washington rumours? Why is that not a thing?
There's enough issues
much
there.
Scandal at Washington. You do not want to bring it.
Okay, so is that the only reason? Because
I would say so.
Yeah, I'd probably say so.
Because of the teams looking to bring him in.
Can you imagine the headlines?
I'm sorry.
No.
Gary's
I agree. I agree,
right.
which is why I threw it out there. But if you're looking at the teams we've mentioned that might be in the hunt, Washington would benefit so much from bringing him in.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The Washington football team need a new quarterback. Taylor Heineke has done okay.
He'd be the best backup in the league.
Yeah, he's done fine for a backup.
Yeah.
Deshaun Watson gets injured. Masseuse runs scared.
God, could you imagine?
Fair enough. I just thought I'd ask.
I literally think that's all it is.
Because it hasn't been whispered, has it?
They can compare and contrast their emails to his Instagram DMs.
Snyder signs compatriot Deshaun Watson.
I mean,
well, I could write them all night.
I honestly think everything that's happening off field with Washington is probably putting off
more likely to be cellmates than teammates.
It's probably putting off every other veteran quarterback from going there.
Yeah, you're probably right.
Can you imagine the bonus scheme you'd have there? It would just be horrific.
The what scheme?
The bonus.
Just checking.
Could you imagine Rodgers? Could you imagine Wilson? Could you imagine any other veteran quarterback going there? They've got a good defense. They've actually got a decent offensive line.
They're going to be starting Fitzmagic again next year, aren't they?
I hope so.
That'd be brilliant. Right,
Brian Hoyer.
We should move on from this week. We should have a quick look at the standings. We'll start in the AFC and we'll just do it in alphabetical order. So at 9-6 and 9-6, it's the Bills and the Patriots. 1 game back. The Dolphins only 1 game back. The Dolphins 8-7, and then the Jets are sunk at 4-11. AFC North, the Bengals lead the way 9-6, and then you've got the Ravens 8-7, the Steelers 7-1, and Gary is right, that one is big, and then the Browns bottom 7-8, still in with a shout.
Literally, that
they've got to win out now.
You could turn upside down by the end of the year.
Yeah, I don't see Cleveland winning out, but that's what they need to do. AFC South, Titans 10-5, Colts 9-6. And then the Dregs, Houston 4-11, and the Jags 2-13. That's harsh. AFC West, rounding out the AFC, Kansas City 11-4, number 1 seed so far, and then a big gap. Chargers 8-7, Raiders 8-7, Broncos 7-8. That's tight, and if somebody's going to come out of there, that's going to be a dogfight to the last.
The AFC South skews the entire conference.
Yeah,
that's the problem. The Colts are 9-6 and are in 8th.
Yeah,
they're not actually in a playoff place at the moment.
No, that's true. In the NFC, in the East, the Cowboys 11-4, and then quite a way back, but still in the playoffs, as we said. The Eagles 8-7, football team 6-9, the Giants in a whole world of hurt 4-11.
But we're all a little bit richer this week.
Not yet. He's not turned up.
Yeah, not yet. That's why he hasn't turned up.
Because he owes everybody money.
He's counting the pennies.
Green Bay Packers 12-3, Vikings 7-8. I mean, that gap is huge in that division. Bears 5-10 and floundering at the bottom, 2-12-1. The Lions, NFC South, Buccaneers have clinched the division 11-4, and then again a huge gap. So the disparity in the last couple of divisions is huge. Falcons 7-8, Saints 7-8, Panthers 5-10, and not putting up any sort of showing in that division. And finally, the NFC West, Rams 11-4 have overtaken the Cardinals 10-5, and then a step back, 49ers 8-7, but win out and you're in without a doubt.
I think if we beat the Texans, we'll probably be in. Because I don't mean the Saints will win 2 games.
And then the Seahawks are 5-10, going to finish last in the division for the first time. It's been a weird season. It's up and down. The Colts are
Colts are in a playoff position at the moment. They're
the fifth seed.
Fifth seed, yeah.
They're fifth, are they?
They're fifth. They're above the Patriots at the moment.
And Dolphins.
Sixth. And
they're eighth in the whole league, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're ahead of the Patriots, who've got the sixth seed, and the seventh seed is already the Dolphins.
Yeah.
So realistically, the AFC East could be throwing 3 teams into the.
I would never imagine that.
No, and neither would I.
5, 6, 7 weeks ago.
The Steelers could take that spot.
Yeah, several teams could. There's so many on 8 and 7.
So tight.
And then Green Bay, everything's going to go through Green Bay for me in the NFC.
Yeah.
Cowboys, Rams, Bucks, Cardinals, Niners, Eagles, and then, like John said, I think that's set. I don't see Vikings, Falcons, Saints winning enough games to overtake the Eagles. I don't see it. I think the top half of the NFC is brilliant, or the top 4 or 5, and the rest of it is turd.
It's rubbish.
Well, the top 5 is confirmed, isn't it? The Cardinals have got the first wild card place, and then it's down to in the hunt, which at the moment, the 6th seed of the 49ers, the 7th seed of the Eagles, on the strength of the fact that 49ers beat the Eagles last time round. In the regular season. And you're right, it's like you can't see the Vikings or the Falcons.
The top 4 are so good.
They're
top
so
4
good.
are so
The
good.
champion should come from there, I should think. I
think it comes from there or the Chiefs. Sorry.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I think the Chiefs now are just like streets ahead.
We should look at this week's fixtures. So week 17, not the final week. You want to take a pick of your fixtures? There's some crap, by the way.
There is some crap.
I'm hoping just because
Chiefs,
I find it funny.
Yeah.
I want to see the Pats absolutely dick the Jags.
I just hope we win. I don't even want to dick them. I
You
just want
win.
us to win.
They're fucking useless.
That Broncos-Chargers match is
important.
Really important
really
for
is.
both teams.
Yeah.
Chiefs-Bengals will be amazing, though.
Yeah.
That could be a proper shoot. It should be a proper shootout, and you know that's going to be like 18-12.
Do you want me to tell you what the worst game of the week is? It's Bucks-Jets.
Yeah.
Oof, there are some bad games. Giants-Bears.
Oh, it's
That's horrendous.
Titans-Dolphins.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Titans-Dolphins.
I think we'll see if Dolphins are more than
I'm
just
praying for the
flat track
Tetons
volleys.
to win, but I think the Dolphins could do that.
Raiders-Colts could be interesting. You just never know what the Raiders are going to do.
Yeah. And the Colts without Carson Wentz.
And if Wentz
Cardinals-Cowboys.
Vince.
The Cardinals have got to do
That's
something.
probably the game of the week for me.
That's the 2 most evenly matched teams, but only if the Cardinals turn up, which they haven't been doing. And the Browns-Steelers, which will probably decide who finishes bottom of that division.
The Saints-Panthers game will not feature on Red Zone. That's going to be awful. That's going to be like 9-3. That's going to be terrible.
Gary
It's
could well be
9-3
right.
to Panthers. I think that's good for us.
That is going to be awful.
Yeah, it's going to be terrible.
I mean, it will feature on Red Zone just because...
What, when it starts?
The kickoff, and there's going to be picks, interceptions.
I know what
and
you're saying.
maybe
Fumble,
like muffs,
sack,
punts, and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Just a laugh.
No need to be rude.
About the Bucks game, though, Bruce Arians just tested positive COVID.
I think it
Doesn't
matters.
matter.
I think they could turn up with a bunch
Brady will
of...
coach
Yeah,
him.
he's not the coach. Yeah, Brady.
Yeah,
Brady's
Brady.
I just don't think it matters. But yeah, the Browns-Steelers is the one that really interests me. The loser of that finishing bottom of this division. And they're done. So, and I don't know. I don't think the Browns right now are good enough to overcome the Steelers.
It's interesting because whoever loses finishes bottom and whoever wins has still got a shot at the playoffs.
Absolutely, of course. Anything else to add?
Do you reckon we can see much helmet-based violence as well in that game?
Oh, you dirty bastard.
Yeah, that's right.
I see what you're saying. I'm not sure Mason Rudolph's going to be making much of an appearance.
I'd like to see him do it to Ben.
I think Ben would kill him. Right. With that in mind, wish everybody a safe and happy New Year, and we'll be back next week.
Oh, yeah, we will be back and we will be crowning 1 or 2 fantasy champions.
Oh, yeah, we didn't mention this. Gary and Jim are playing in both our league finals.
Just because we're really good at fantasy football.
So it means our opinions matter more than anybody else's.
Well, no, because it would be your third win, Jim, if you win the regular one. Second one.
Second. I've only won once before.
Gary's first, who claims he's a fantasy genius, but has never won anything.
I've won other leagues, just not our league.
It's like claiming your girlfriend is goes to the other school. You've not met her. She's a model. She lives in Canada.
This is the worst postscript to a podcast ever. With that in mind, good night.
Night.